LA on the first day of E3, Jason.
That's us.
It's a wonderful, magical town full of games and white guys with beards who are slightly overweight.
Yes, and there's also the dude down at the convenience store that I ran into who has feet like an ogre.
Oh, yeah?
Some homeless dude, yeah.
Ogre feet?
He was having an intense conversation with himself.
Yeah.
And
did you eavesdrop? What
he was wearing a poncho.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you maybe not want to get too close to that.
Nope.
Were there weird things? Did he have a Total Recall thing going on under the poncho?
He may very well have. He was a big dude. He looked like some sort of Mexican Viking.
That's not something that you see every day, the Mexican Viking.
Really not, with ogre feet.
With ogre feet. Well, welcome everybody to Rage Select. We're doing our E3 Day 1 wrap-up, and today...
this is really the pre-show wrap-up.
Kind of, yeah.
Sort of, yeah.
I guess, yeah, the show floor wasn't open today, but we did have conferences from freaking dawn till dusk and shit.
Just about. It's exhausting.
So we've got 4 conferences to go over, and...
We got a lot to cover.
But before we start, I'm just going to say, hey, thank you guys for showing up and hanging out at the conferences with us today. We wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for you guys and your generous donations back at the old days or whatever.
Yep.
Also, I'd like to say that I did manage to wang my ankle out of shape like the day before we have to walk around for 4 days in like video game Disneyland.
Yeah. I'm going to be carrying him around like I'm fucking Hodor.
No, dude. Master
Hodor.
Blaster.
Master Blaster.
Master Blaster.
Who rule E3?
That's right. Break a deal, face Randy Pitchford. Is that how it goes?
Oh, let's do it. I'm in. I am in.
So yeah, we're still gonna bring you plenty of E3 footage, and we have a recording. We have kind of a crazy idea about how we're going to be recording some of this video stuff, but unfortunately, due to the limitations of not having like a full staff full of people in an editing bay, we're probably not going to have any of that actual video footage up until the week after, until next week.
It'll be worth it, though.
Yeah, but we are going to be coming at you every day after the show to tell you what we saw, and from the looks of these conferences, there's a lot.
We've got a lot of ground to go over.
A lot to see. So let's start with the first conference of the day, which was Microsoft. And the first thing that Microsoft showed.
That was pretty badass. I'm not even a fan of this series, but it looked glorious.
It looked at first, I mean, like...
Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yes, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. And there's actually, at the beginning, like, the way that they led into that, was there a minute in your brain where you were like, is this Red Dead? Is it because it was out in the dusty desert, 2 dudes riding a horse?
It definitely hit those notes. They did that on purpose, those cheating sons of bitches, playing with my emotions like that. And it's like, oh, we're going to give you a handy, Jason. Nope, just kidding. We're jerking off Jeff.
And it was fantastic. I actually, now that I think about it, I haven't had a chance to go back and watch that trailer again. I need to do that before I go to bed tonight.
Why?
12 more times.
Make sure you close your door.
Well, yeah, I was going to keep my pants on.
No,
but,
I doubt that.
But no, the trailer started out as awesome with what I assume is Big Boss and Ocelot riding on horses in the desert. And then there was a very long showing kind of an open world sequence of where they actually fast forwarded the gameplay of showing them riding through this giant open dusty place and stealing it. And there was some horse stealth.
Yeah,
there's more horse stealth than we've seen. I think Assassin's Creed 3 was the last.
Yeah, there was horse stealth.
There was some horse stealth there, but when I was watching that, I was like, Kojima, I'm going to trust you, but like some guy hanging off the side of a horse that is walking by a bunch of guards is not exactly the stealthiest thing in the world. It'd be like all it take was one dude to go, hey, what's going on with that horse over there? I don't know. Why don't you go look for 1 second?
He has a man-shaped tumor growing out of his side.
But then there was a Jeep, and then there was all these things. There was a lady with the boobs. There was
so descriptive. There's a Jeep and boobs and other things.
It was very Metal Gear. And there was even a segment in there where you saw Boss with the red hand that what's his face had in Peace Walker. Weird. And then we heard very briefly Kiefer Sutherland doing his Big Boss voice.
Yeah, it was passable.
It was decent enough. I think
it fit the model.
Yeah, I think that not my first choice, but it's better than what Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah, he
or
wasn't even doing a Solid Snake voice.
Seth Rogen.
He was just Kiefer Sutherland.
He was affecting a little bit of a Solid Snake
little
voice. Yeah. I've watched enough 24. I know what that dude sounds like. And then from there, as if that wasn't Jeff Porno enough, they did show a trailer for Dark Souls 2.
Yep.
And then we have up on Rage Select, and I am going to get to play that game on Wednesday. And
That's when I had to turn the hose on Jeff. Like 2 dogs humping in your front yard.
You're like, Jeff, get off the furniture.
Yeah. Just spritz him, slap him in the nose with a rolled up newspaper.
But from there, okay, listen, I'm going to just say this right now. To me, that was kind of the highlight of that conference.
It was all downhill for you?
It wasn't all downhill. It just never went any further uphill, I guess. I mean,
I don't know. There was some downhill. Let's be honest.
Okay, well, I tell you what. Let's talk about some of the downhill. One of the next things that they showed was that game Ryse. RYZE.
Looked really, really good until we started getting bombarded with QuickTime sequences.
So many QuickTime events.
Just repeatedly.
So many. Like, I have no idea what developers... And okay, listen. Correct me if I'm wrong, but last year, wasn't that a Kinect game? I'm pretty sure during the Kinect part that I saw some dude standing up like in a first-person thing having a fight with a dude, because I think there was at one point where you were actually kind of happy about it because you got to Kinect stab a dude in the neck with your sword and like... blood came out and stuff.
I think you're right. Yeah, it seems like they did away with that. They didn't really mention the Kinect or anything like that at all on this one.
Well,
so.
they had these button prompts over the heads the entire time that was just a little like...
Which I guess if you're going to give us QuickTime versus Kinect, give me QuickTime.
I don't know, but it just... The whole thing looked like an interesting concept. It's not a genre that we tend to get that much in video games, and the actual graphics seemed like they were very nice. It seemed like somebody put a lot of time and work into that. Mm-hmm. It's just the gameplay just seemed a little bleh.
Didn't it? Yeah, well, it had an epic battlefield. I mean, it was just really... there was just a hell of a lot going on as these Spartans, stormed this beach. But, yeah, they just shoved so many QuickTime sequences down your throat, and that was... that.
I mean, I don't know.
I had to cut it down several notches.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but like I personally was done with the QuickTime event a while back.
Oh yeah,
like they wore out their welcome at the end of the PS2, the beginning of the PS3 era, where they were putting it in everything, and we were all just like, "All right, game industry, you can stop that shit now. Mm-hmm. We don't care anymore." You know what? I need to back up for a second and just say that everything that we talk about from this point on are Xbox One exclusives.
Yes, Ryse is an Xbox One exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
We'll let you know when we're done with that. But they've got quite a few exclusives, and that's one of the few advantages that they have. One of the very few advantages,
which we will get to.
We'll get to that
because there is very much a moment in this conference. Unfortunately, it comes at the very end. So there was Ryse, and then we also got to see a little bit more of Quantum Break, the new game from Remedy.
This is the one that they showed the FMV for at the Xbox Expo not too long ago, and there wasn't any FMV in this presentation.
Nope.
So that was interesting.
It was like from the look of the actual gameplay, it seemed like an interesting conceit of saying that, or at least in that one particular segment that they showed, it seemed like all time everywhere had stopped for everybody except for a few people, and there was like the main character was trying to find the scientist, and he had to like keep a hold of her, or at least it was implied from the trailer that like she was in the middle of an explosion and he had to grab her, and then when he grabbed her she went back into real time, but he said like I can't let go of your hand, implying that if that happened that she would go back into being stopped. There
were explosions and stuff that were just freeze framed, with a lot of particle effects and stuff like that. It looks pretty cool. So it could make for a cool mechanic, or it could be Blinks the Time Sweeper.
Are you talking shit about Blinks the Time Sweeper?
I will take any chance I get to talk shit about that fucking cat. Hate that cat.
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, like Quantum Break was one of the when I look over this list, Quantum Break was one of the things that I was a little bit interested in, just because I mean, Remedy, everybody knows this, so this isn't like the stupid reveal or anything, but I haven't played through Alan Wake. I played a little bit of it, but I didn't have an Xbox when it came out.
I have.
Yeah. And I like Max Payne 3 or Max Payne 1 and 2. I mean, not that other one. I mean, I kind of made my peace with 3, but I like the stuff that Remedy has put out is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And so I think that if those guys have an opportunity to take this stuff, especially if they have that whole like TV show tie-in thing where they have some kind of episodic like released on the Xbox One.
They're big on that. Remember they did that for Alan Wake.
Did they?
Having these weird little Twin Peaks-esque minis that were on Xbox Live.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. I don't know if they were on the... Wait, was Alan Wake was an exclusive to Xbox?
Yes,
right?
that's why I didn't play it.
Okay, yeah, they had little. I didn't watch them all. I don't know how many they had. I think I saw one of them or two, but they had a couple of little shorts that were very Twin Peaks. That leading up to the release of Alan Wake, they were really cool, and I liked Alan Wake quite a bit. It wasn't perfect, but it had some really good stuff.
Well,
to it.
I mean, that stuff comes from Max Payne, right? because they had Lords and Ladies.
That's
and
right.
Destination Unknown
That's right.
and Captain
They're
Baseball Bat
really
Boy.
big about having these little meta elements to their games because. Max Payne had a lot of that, with the TVs in there, and then that tied into the stuff you see in Alan Wake, loosely,
right?
With stuff coming on TV, and it was interesting.
I wonder where the little kid fits in. I wonder where the little girl from the
the
press event, the Xbox One
that has the
event.
power or whatever to stop time.
Like, is she the one do we have to assassinate that little blonde-haired girl? Is that the end game? She's the boss.
I don't know.
Damn.
Jeff kicking my goddamn microphone.
I know. I'm sorry.
I will kick you right in your busted ankle, and I will be the only one to go to E3. You're just going to be sitting here on the floor weeping.
I don't have to. Man, I will chop my leg off Saw style and shove one of these table legs on there like a goddamn pirate to get to E3.
Yar, yar! Oh my God, yar! It hurts so bad, yar!
You'll be letting me in, matey,
and give me all of the morphine.
I just no, lots of rum. But
yeah,
I'm interested to know how that whole thing shakes out because, like we talked on the original on our first podcast, nobody's really ever done the whole TV series tying into a video game or movie tying into a video game really, really well,
right?
Especially episodically.
Yeah.
And if somebody did it right, it seems like Remedy could be the people to do that. And if they did it right, it could be the sort of thing that was magic, just like incredible.
It could also be, hey, this is a good game, but just ignore that whole TV thing. It's pretty silly.
Which is more likely than not.
That's much more likely.
That is probably what we're going to end up with at the end of the day. From there, we had another thing that was pretty cool, which was EA's Titanfall.
Developed by
that's the Respawn with Jason West and Vince Zampella,
the guys who originally started the Halcyon days of Call of Duty.
Yeah, and it's giant robots with their dong cockpits in the future.
Yep, dong pits,
which for those of you who haven't seen any of this, is like they've got these giant robots, and the way that you get into them is there's a hatch that opens up kind of right where their crotch is, and the robot picks you up and shoves you into its groinal area, and then you're in the
I wish it was the butt.
In the butt?
Yeah.
Just shit like a suppository style.
All right, soldiers, get into that mech's butthole.
It's like, Sarge, I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's bad. It smells in there.
It smells of robot poo. But yeah, that game actually looked pretty cool. It had some good action sequences. Mm-hmm. There's clearly a big multiplayer component for it. It looked like a hell of a lot of fun.
I mean, it was very clean. It was very I dig the aesthetic of it. I'm glad to see in this particular E3 that there's way more kind of futuristic stuff going on. It seems like
there's a lot of that,
which is good because we are so saturated with modern military.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of that. We'll get to that later.
Yeah,
but
there seems to be this kind of online persistent. Like it seems like another thing that we've been seeing a lot of recently, which is single player campaigns that you can play with optional multiplayer. Where people can jump in with you or do whatever. And the mech combat looks pretty cool. Like one of those mechs was like using the force and shit, like Neo stopping bullets, and throwing them back. It was pretty crazy.
And there were big drop ships and stuff like that.
It kind of reminded me of Battlefield 2042, or at least of
a little bit, yeah.
Or even something like PlanetSide. I think that
one of the problems I have with it is that there's a sameness in design in a lot of these futuristic games, and this is no exception.
This is true.
I would have a difficult time, playing games every damn day of my life. I would have a difficult time just looking at screenshots right now and telling the difference between a lot of these.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're all, a lot of them are focusing on exosuit type stuff, and it's very Killzone, Titanfall, Destiny, etc.
Right.
So it's kind of running together for me, you know?
Yeah, it seems to be something that it's fairly difficult to avoid unless you have a really original premise, which, as we have bemoaned in the past, these press conferences have kind of gone to show me that there's plenty of stuff out there that is not just rehashing, that we've just been caught in the doldrums of the pre-next console cycle, where nobody really wants to do anything interesting. I don't know. I think that Titanfall to me looks a lot like PlanetSide, or like they've been trying to do kind of like massive online battle type of stuff.
It seems very PlanetSide.
Yeah,
like you're saying.
And if they could, I mean, and nobody's really been able to pull that off very well. And I didn't play PlanetSide 2 very much because it's a very obtuse jump in, but I think that if Wes and Zampella can bring what they did with like Modern Warfare 4 into a sci-fi game, that they could have a whole new hit on their hands until they get fired and their money gets taken away or whatever.
Well, I think I think Xbox is really counting on them to have a big console-defining hit.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, speaking of console-defining hits, maybe, I don't know. We also
arcade-defining hits.
We also saw the new Killer Instinct today. Which
Killer Instinct.
Which I know that I had my own love affair with the original Killer Instinct back in the arcade, but you are much more excited about this one than I am.
I don't know about that. I mean, it's really just a nostalgia thing. It's not that I was ever any good at it, but I spent a lot of time watching it because in its heyday, I was working at an arcade. And that was the one that everybody was always crazy about. So, I'm not terribly excited about it, but I liked what I saw. But it did give way to one of the most awkward moments of any E3 ever.
Oh, dear Lord.
Dear Lord. Let me set the stage. There was some Microsoft or Rare person. I think it was a Microsoft person.
I think it was a Microsoft person.
A woman playing Killer Instinct. And the fact that she's a woman is important in this story.
Yep.
She was playing Killer Instinct, and she was playing against one of the producers of Killer Instinct, this young guy. And he's beating her ass. He was Jago, and I think she was like Saberwolf or something. And he's just whipping the shit out of her. And he's like, it'll be over in a minute. Just let it happen. And it was like, what?
I threw my headphones off and turned to Jason and said, did he just fucking say that?
Yeah. It's like they were playing the game on the top of a pinball machine.
Oh, my God.
Like Jodie Foster's The Accused.
It's just going to be this thing now that just comes up as an example of how the video game industry is shitty and misogynist. As you know, look, this is on stage at E3, and man.
Surely someone, when he went backstage, was like, did you really say that?
Did you really just fucking say that out loud?
It was, he said, and this is almost verbatim, he said, this will be over in a second, just let it happen.
Yeah. And it was the single worst thing I've heard at an E3 probably ever.
Yeah. Oh, Anita Sarkeesian. Not that we need to give her any more fuel, but she is going to eat this shit right up.
Yeah, well...
She'll probably have something posted, like, tomorrow.
Well, Kotaku will surely have something posted tomorrow because they like that sort of story. But if you go back to Killer Instinct, I mean, I could say that Killer Instinct very much looked a lot like what we tend to be getting out of these HD versions. I mean, it was it was cleaned up. It was nice looking. It didn't have anything.
There wasn't anything really striking about it aside from the fact that it was Killer Instinct.
Yeah,
you know?
And it was also one of those things which has been an annoying issue all show, where they kept cutting away from the footage back to the people on stage that were playing.
Yeah.
And it was like, fuck you, I want to see the footage of Killer Instinct.
Well, they did that on a lot of stuff, but they did it on Killer Instinct a lot. There were some games where, and this was a problem throughout E3's entire presentation, or Spikes or whoever was in charge of.
Yeah, I don't know if some people were saying the IGN feed was way better about not
really?
cutting back to those cameras.
Yeah, we were feeding the Spike feed through on ours, and it would pull away to like long shots of what was going on the stage without showing the gameplay footage that was going on right now, and it was just such a stupid waste.
Yeah, I was like, why the fuck do I care about this crane shot of the auditorium that you're having this in? I'm watching it to see the footage of the game. Like, this isn't a like a show or something. You don't need to frame the shot to give us an idea of the... I don't give a fuck about all the journalists that are sitting in that room. Like,
right.
seriously.
Yeah, it's like, I want to look at those guys. Yeah, that's who we're here to see.
Let's see. From there, we had, and some of this is a little bit out of order just because I wanted to get stuff in a little bit more logical order. But we also had Forza Motorsport 5.
Yes.
Which we saw which was one of the few games making quote fingers with my hands that we saw at the Microsoft Press, the first briefing.
Yeah.
And it gave rise to one of the other incredibly ridiculous made-up video game bullshit terms.
There were two big ones. I don't remember the other one. I'm sure you do, and we'll get to it. But yeah.
Drivatar.
Your
Drivatar. Well, they kept saying it like it was a word, like it was not just some dumb shit that they made up.
It's like that thing in Clue where it's like, stop trying to make fetch happen, or Clueless. Stop trying to make fetch happen.
Mean Girls?
Is it Mean Girls?
I think it's Mean Girls.
Whatever, same thing.
Yeah.
Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's like, okay, stop trying to make Drivatar happen.
Yeah.
Okay?
Like you could say it, but every time you say it, all that happens is we all go.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
I just kept thinking Drivatard. You're drive-a-tarded.
Well, that and the I think the other one that I got was the Spike TV. They kept cutting back to the game decks.
Oh man, that was the worst.
That was like, here's what's trending on Twitter, and here's the positive and negative tweets with the blah, 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 on Twitter. Blah, blah, blah. Like, last year they had iJustine just like standing in front of like the weather map, like the weather girl, like reading out how many tweets, like who was having more tweets, more hashtags or whatever. Mm-hmm. This was worse because they were trying to give like
it was the stock exchange.
Exactly.
Or something.
Yeah. Very weird, very real, like public perception weight to the to Twitter feeds of the trends on Twitter.
Like
for this
it was,
stuff.
Oh, we've got a new update. Nintendo just pulled ahead in the tweets and
the game decks.
Yeah, the game. What was it? GDEX? Was that what they were calling it?
GDEX is something like that. It was something.
God, it was moronic.
Anyway, back to Forza.
Yeah, I know this game has a lot of fans. It's very pretty.
Yeah.
I don't fucking care.
Yeah. We have actually, I'm just going to let you guys know right now that
I will allow you to care, though.
Oh, yeah. We have several games here. Every conference had at least one driving game that they focused on.
Yeah.
There was a lot of driving this time around.
Very few fighting games.
Yeah, well, I think Killer Instinct was the only one that I saw.
I think so. Well, there was a clip in one of the in the Sony thing, like in a montage, basically, where it was like, "Oh, Tekken," but they didn't talk about it or anything like that.
Yeah, and I don't even know if that was a new Tekken. I think that might have been Tekken Tag Tournament 2.
It didn't look new.
But so yeah, Forza. I mean, hey, Forza looks really pretty. It looks like a super pretty driving game. Most of the Forzas have been very fun so far.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, to the people who are into driving games,
who are not us.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've enjoyed Gran Turismo from time to time, and Forza apparently you can like rewind, but whatever.
Well, that was in one of the other ones, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. It's Forza anyway.
Yeah, it looked gorgeous.
Yeah,
you've got to drive a tar,
sure,
which they were trying to sell anyway. We
drive a tar.
Yeah,
that's so stupid.
They might as well have said, Jason and Jeff, these next 5 minutes will be presented in Aramaic.
Right. Okay, so from there there was and like I said, some of this is out of order from Microsoft. We had a new Dead Rising game.
Yes,
Dead Rising 3.
Mm-hmm. Yep. New protagonist, no longer Frake West. It's some grease monkey, a dude working and that is not racist. That's the thing. That's a dude who works in a garage. He's working in a garage, walking around with a wrench. And I thought that, I haven't really played a lot of Dead Rising. I played the first one a little bit, and the controls kind of annoyed me. This was a long time ago.
Yeah.
The controls really were my barrier to entry there, and I just kind of brushed it off. It's Ramos.
Nick Ramos.
Yeah, it's Ramos, Gringo.
Okay.
It's Ramos.
All right. Anyway, sorry.
No, but yeah, I thought the way that the presentation played out for that was really good, because they showed this gameplay, and it was Nick encountering just a handful of zombies. He beats their ass with a wrench, and then a fence comes down, and there's quite a few zombies.
Right.
And then to get away from them, he like climbs up on top of his house or garage or whatever.
Well, it's like he turns and there's another whole bunch of zombies to one side, and then he tries to go through another fence and there's a whole bunch of zombies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of zombies.
Then he climbs up on the house, and then you see, oh, shit. It's like the proverbial poo has hit the fan.
You actually, he climbs on top of the house and you go, Nick, how did all the zombies sneak up on you?
Yeah, like every one of them.
like 300 zombies around your place. How did you not notice this until just now?
Stealth zombies.
But then he gets into a car, which is pretty cool, and like mows down a bunch of zombies in a car, which is something Jason really likes.
I do. That is my preferred method. That's the best weapon for me in a game. Is a car.
Yeah.
I think you guys have probably figured that out by now. But yes, I love getting into a car and just running people over because there's less risk. It's like armor. It's like moving armor that kills people.
Yeah.
But it does have the goofy weapon combos, where you can.
Yeah, there was one that it was like a sledgehammer with like a circular saw on the end of it. So you had the sledgehammer for like vertical attacks, and the circular saw would do like horizontal attacks. You could hit multiple zombies at one time. And it looked like, from what I could see from the gameplay, that unlike the previous Dead Rising game, you didn't have to go to a workbench to do that. You could just kind of do it wherever. You pull up this menu, and if you have the weapons to be able to do that, you can do it right there. Because it used to be that you would have to find these specific rooms to go into.
Right.
The look of the game was a little bit grittier. Like, Dead Rising 1 was in a mall, and it was kind of goofy, and Dead Rising 2 was in a parody of Las Vegas, and this was very much like dark.
Yeah,
like
this
rusty
looked like
town kind of junk.
Yeah, this looked like it could have been, the outskirts of LA or something like that.
Yeah, and then at the very, very end, they had to whip the smart glass out to call in artillery strike. Which
Xbox did that so much. Microsoft pulled out the smart glass so many times.
Yep,
and
I can't even remember what all they did. Did they do it on Titanfall?
I don't know. There were a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Just a ton. And I kept thinking, okay, I'll do this if it's cheap/free and easy.
Right.
But I don't know that it will be either of those because I get annoyed when I've got like a Blu-ray player that has Pandora connectivity, and I have to authorize it. I have to go to my laptop, and then I've got to authorize this device to use this account, and blah blah blah. And it's probably not going to be any easier. So I will likely just say, yeah, fuck you. I just want to play the game.
I want to buy you a plane ticket to Redmond so you can go be in a focus group for the Xbox One. Just read. I am a lazy man. I do not want to pick up another thing and turn it on to play video games.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Mr. Murphy, when you're done drinking that beer, would you tell us what you think about this? I think your shit is stupid.
Well, from there, we also had a very strange announcement, in my opinion, which was Minecraft for the Xbox One. Like, really?
A toy? Yeah, and it was just like, okay, what with new next gen graphics?
Yeah.
What are you going to tell us here?
Yeah,
and I don't know. I mean, I know it's a big sales thing,
sure,
but it just felt out of place.
I'll tell you what, Jason. You know what would have been a big sales thing what would have actually got some applause if they had announced it, is if they had said, and if you already bought a copy of Minecraft for the Xbox 360, we're going to give you a free copy of Minecraft for your Xbox One.
That would be cool.
But they did not say that.
Not going to happen.
No. What did they say? More something, bigger, more multiplayer, something like that, bigger servers? I don't know. It's like,
I don't know.
Fucking Minecraft, man. Like,
yeah.
I know it's been done really big business for them, but
I mean,
seriously.
really, if you're going to play Minecraft, you should be playing it on the PC. I play it on the Xbox, but clearly the PC is better.
Yeah. Wow. The strange words.
Yeah.
From you.
Yeah.
From there, we also had, what was this? Sunset Overdrive.
It was weird. It was all kind of cartoonish animations. It kind of reminded me of Pain.
Mm-hmm, a little bit.
That,
Well, it was weird because this is the latest game. It's for the Xbox One by Insomniac. And we put on our Alex Jones tinfoil hats and said that maybe the reason that Fuse sucks so much was because the creative part of that team left halfway through the development to do this and left the rest of it to some...
The scrub team.
They were just like...
left it to the Insomniac headquarters janitorial staff.
Right, just make it Gears of War. It's fine. Just take what we have and
whatever.
Make it work. But it's listed as an open world shooting game. It seemed to have some kind of multiplayer component, but it had the words coming out of stuff, like when you shot people or you exploded stuff, it would say "boom" in the explosion.
Yeah.
And,
it didn't,
I
have
didn't
a
get
lot
the
of
impression-
realism to it, which is fine.
well, I didn't get the impression from that trailer that trailer was. I thought that it looked very pre-rendered. Like, it didn't seem to me like gameplay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weirdness going on.
I don't know. It seemed to go in and out. There was some stuff that I could believe was gameplay, but then there were other, like, weird camera angles where I wouldn't think that would be a gameplay angle.
Right. In fact, you know what? This entire E3 so far, it's one of the reasons that I really want to get to the show floor tomorrow or today, depending on when you hear this, is this entire E3, we've seen very few things that say this is all rendered in-engine footage.
Yeah.
Very few of those have come up. And usually, I mean, I would say that normally they make a big deal out of that, but like, Metal Gear Solid 5 didn't do that, and that could have very well have been, like, that was really good looking, what they showed.
But some of it was clearly gameplay footage.
Oh, it was all gameplay footage.
All of it was?
I'm pretty sure.
Damn.
And they don't generally pre-render cutscenes for Metal Gear. It's all done in the engine. So.
Oh well, no. Are
you talking about for Sunset
cutscenes.
Overdrive?
Well, no. I'm talking about Metal Gear. I mean, yeah. I thought some of it. And I'm not talking about cutscenes.
Right.
I mean, gameplay footage, not using the game engine, but whatever. Splitting hairs.
It's been to me a very strange thing in this particular generational shift between. Like, I really want you to tell me when what I'm seeing is actual gameplay footage. Because there was the PlayStation 4 conference, there was that Capcom game that was like a sword and sorcery game that everybody was convinced was pre-rendered. But I was like, I don't know, man. If you look at Skyrim with all those mods on, you're starting to approach that level of detail.
Yeah.
So
the Dark Sorcerer, is that the one you were talking about? Or?
No, that's the Quantic Dream one. This was at the PlayStation 4 original unveiling event.
Oh, okay.
It was like this kind of dark fantasy sword and sorcery thing. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, so Sunset Overdrive, and then we also had a very brief look, from a bad camera angle far away, so we couldn't really get much of an idea of Below, which is this new game from the Sword and Sorcery.
Yeah, which I played a little bit of Sword and Sorcery. I liked it well enough, but it didn't grab me, and I didn't have time to spend a lot of time with it. But this has that similar
pixel art,
yeah, like
fantasy.
very, very primitive fantasy pixel art stuff. But I'm curious.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people love Sword and Sorcery, so I'll definitely give this a shot.
And last but certainly not least, we got to see a little bit more Battlefield 4, specifically the single player Battlefield 4.
Which, it looked fun.
Yeah.
It was modern combat, and it was a lot of it was showcasing particle effects, which seemed to be problematic for gameplay.
Well, when I think back to my experience with Battlefield 3, this was a single player campaign. I had a hard time in Battlefield 3 shooting anything because I couldn't tell the difference between the virtual crap on my screen, the flares, the lighting effects, the dust in the air, and the actual guy that was shooting at me from halfway across the map with deadly accuracy.
And here's the thing. I just want to sit EA, DICE, and Microsoft down all at once for this and just go, okay, listen, guys, don't take this the wrong way, but no one gives a good goddamn about the single player on this franchise, okay? No one cares.
Dude, Omar from The Wire is in there now.
I've never seen The Wire.
Well, okay. Now,
I don't know who that is.
All right, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to right now say that I care to a certain degree. Not about the single player for Battlefield 3, because that was hot, steaming, on fire garbage.
It was all right. It was fine. It was serviceable.
Okay, it was bland as holy shit. Is what it was. It was more about setting up these scenes where you could go, oh, holy shit, that looks awesome, than it was about actual fun gameplay. But Bad Company 1 and 2, I like the single player.
Bad Company
games.
1 and 2, those were great.
Yeah.
Those were fantastic single player experiences, but that was not the Battlefield proper.
But then as far as I know, outside of Battlefield 3, there's never been a single player Battlefield campaign, right? 2042?
No. Yeah,
1942,
I'm pretty sure it's just Battlefield 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess you guys can try whatever.
Yeah,
Oh, and
running at 60 frames per second.
It was running at 60 frames per second, and they were playing it on the PC, and it had 32 on 32. Oh wait, no, this is later.
Xbox
this
One.
is later. This is later.
That's later.
We'll get to this later.
Don't
Sorry.
jump the gun.
I'm jumping ahead. I'm sorry.
You get so excited. We're talking about Battlefield.
I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it. Yeah, but yeah, it's whatever.
Once again,
it looked forgettable.
To me, it looked like Battlefield 3, and that what we were seeing was they were fighting on this ship, and there were aircraft carrier, and there were planes flipping over, and there was things everywhere, and there was guys fighting, and it was jumping. Unfortunately, all of that seemed to make it extremely difficult for me to see what the player was actually shooting at.
It's like, I don't know what's happening.
Like they were shooting at the black dot head of an enemy that was on silhouetted against the black dot of cover that was only visible because they were moving.
We're doddering old men.
Well, but you know what? The guy who was running that stage show, he didn't seem to know what he was shooting at.
It's
like he was taking just these pot shots. Beep, 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 beep.
Well,
beep.
this is the one where the French guy, was he French? The dude from DICE came out and introduced it, and they had the sound problems.
Was that this one?
It was this one, yeah.
Oh, well, they had the sound problems, yeah.
Yeah, the sound was cutting out. Oh, he was pissed.
He was so pissed. Like you could
so
hear him saying to his
angry.
mic, all right, are we fucking done here?
Did he say that?
No, he didn't say fucking, but
okay.
But like the thing is that they started playing the trailer or the footage, and then the sound wasn't functional on it, so all you could hear was the audience, and there were actually people screaming out of the audience. It was hilarious.
I wish the audience had started making their own sound. Oh my god!
And like I don't know how they don't. I mean, like maybe I just overplan for shit, but I don't know how those guys weren't briefed ahead of time on like this is what you do if the sound goes off.
Right.
Like, do a little soft show. Tell these 4 jokes we're going to give you to memorize or something. But he was not a good sport about it at all. Like,
No,
that
he
dude
was seething.
angry as hell.
Yeah, if I see him at E3 tomorrow,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just give him shit. I'm just gonna laugh. Like, you were pissed. You mad, bro? You mad?
And then at the end, we got our price and release for the Xbox One. So,
November, $499.
500 big boys.
Yep.
Which, you know, I mean,
Not terribly surprising.
well, I think, you know what I think the difference, what I think is driving that up by about $100 is the Kinect. I mean, they had to manufacture that shit and put it in every box.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to drive the price up because the rest of it's pretty stock computer parts that they can buy pretty cheap. So
Yeah. It's like buying a car. It's like, well, you are going to have to pay $1,000 more because we put a ton of camel shit in the back seat.
Did
That's expensive.
Did they do that where you buy your car, Jason? Did you have to do that the first time?
I buy all my cars at a bazaar in Morocco.
Oh, okay. I fly once a year to Morocco to buy a new car.
To buy a car. Yeah, just drive. I'm just going to drive it home.
So you're doing it wrong. You need to go down to Cuba and get one of those old like 50s cars.
Yes.
That's what you do. So anyway, that was Microsoft's press conference, and you know what we listed off outside of Battlefield 4.
A lot of exclusives.
Yeah, outside of Battlefield 4 and Metal Gear Solid and Dark Souls, all the rest of that stuff was exclusive to the Xbox One.
Which is, they're hedging a lot on that.
We will come back to that.
We will get to that. But yeah, that's they're kind of putting all their eggs in the exclusivity basket.
Yep. So next up was EA. We're actually going to, you know, we saw a few things in between, but we don't really have time to talk about all that. We'll talk about that stuff when we play.
Yeah, there was some Peter Molyneux stuff. There was Witcher 3,
Yep.
you know, stuff like that. There
We're gonna
was
see-
some good stuff.
Oh, we're going to see Witcher 3.
Yes, we are.
We're going to see Witcher 3.
I can't wait.
So EA was EA. I mean, they started out with
EA came out to a symphony of the crying souls of the damned.
well, they came out. Peter Moore came out, and he looked more like the devil this time around than
Yeah.
I have ever seen him before.
He came out and he said, everyone in this auditorium will be forced to suck Satan's cock.
But
Here's Plants vs. Zombies.
yeah, the first thing they did was this Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, which is a third person.
Looks kind of Team Fortressy.
Kind of Team Fortressy, but there seemed to be AI controlled creeps like Dota style, or like Man versus Machine style almost.
Right. It looked fun.
I mean,
whatever.
It seemed all right. They had a fake, like they started like they were the way the trailer was fashioned. It was like they were going to be revealing Battlefield, and then they switched. But you could tell from the silhouettes in the trailer, if you're not stupid or whatever, that they weren't. It wasn't Battlefield. It was Plants vs. Zombies.
Oh, right.
Especially because Spike TV spent like the entirety between those two press conferences. They mentioned this game like 4 times.
Oh, Spike, you whores.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it looks like a third-person game. I never played Plants vs. Zombies.
I didn't either. I know it's got a huge fan base, so it's probably cool.
Yeah, I don't have anything against it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah. But that guy,
Oh, Jesus.
that grinning little bitch that came out.
He came out with a zombie.
He had a
on,
zombie
or-
head on his head.
Yeah.
He had a zombie mask on his head, and it was like a Plants vs. Zombie mask. And the room was awkward.
Yeah.
This huge auditorium's like sparse, scattered applause. And then he takes the mask off and he talks.
But he was like, this is my first time I've ever been at E3, or I'm so happy to be here up on stage, or something like that, where we were just like, get to it, asshole.
Yeah. And he's talking about that, and he said, and then before he walks off stage, he gives this awkward little jump, like in some old movie or something where they would freeze frame on it, but it was all awkward and clumsy, like he was Napoleon Dynamite. And he said, "And Peggle too."
And then didn't they play Ode to Joy?
Yeah. Ode to Joy is in.
Oh, it's in Peggle too.
Yeah,
right.
It's in Peggle. Yeah.
And it's like
it was like,
dude, you are really excited about iPad games, and I'm.
Yeah. He's like, and then Nancy Drew, the case of who gave Roy syphilis. Yay!
Yeah, that guy was a little irritating.
It's like, I feel sorry for you, but I also want to kick your ass.
Yeah. So from there, we saw a little bit more Titanfall.
Yep.
Which seemed cool. This was actually the EA conference was that they were actually playing it, right? Wasn't it just gameplay footage at Microsoft?
Yeah. Well, Microsoft had both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Microsoft had gameplay footage as well, but this was, I think, all gameplay footage.
Yeah.
And it just showed you more of what we had seen, really.
Yeah.
Which looks cool. Sure. I'd like to play it.
Yeah. I don't really have much more to say out of the first time.
Yeah.
We already talked about it.
Yeah. And then. Oh man, I
Epic
was like
fail by Jason.
I was
like
great. Texting somebody. There's this like snow-swept field with this wreckage in it.
Could have been any game.
Yeah, it was
literally
all
any game.
I was just like, all right, I don't know what this shit is. It's snow, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm looking down texting, and this was like the briefest of teasers.
Yeah.
Just the briefest. You hear like a couple of laser blasts, and I still wasn't paying attention. And all of a sudden, Jeff from across the room goes, "Star Wars!" And I look up, and I missed like all the good stuff. I look up just in time to see an AT-AT like crunching, like stepping down on the screen. I was like, what? And then it says Star Wars Battlefront 3. I'm like, oh god damn it!
Which you haven't had a chance to go back, and to be honest, you did not miss that much. You missed a snow speeder
crashing into
second.
the snow.
Yeah, crashing.
I went back and found the trailer online and watched it. And I wasn't a big fan of. I never did play Battlefront 1. I played Battlefront 2 a little, and what I played was just a little too chaotic for my taste. I wanted more of that battlefield feel.
Well, do you think this is going to give it to you? I mean, now that they're not pandemic anymore, it's,
it is.
Some dice guys come over to mess around with it.
I mean, it's a different developer and everything.
Or Sledgehammer or something.
We'll see, but that got me really excited.
Yeah, it's also interesting because EA just signed that deal for the LucasArts properties not too long ago.
Yeah,
so
that had to
which
I knew that's we're going to see a lot of Star Wars stuff next E3.
Yeah.
But there really wasn't any way for them to show much at all since that deal just went through so recently.
Yeah.
And then another driving game.
Yep, Need for Speed Rivals, which was I can't really tell you all that much about it. I mean,
it was a Need for Speed game.
They brought out Jesse Pinkman to introduce it with a car.
Yeah,
he didn't say bitch once.
I know.
He didn't say bitch once. I was in the chat just like.
He didn't say yo.
He didn't say yo. He didn't say bitch.
Yeah.
He didn't say Mr. White.
Yeah, they were playing it up as like they were really showing like how they filmed a lot of like the mocap of like the cars and the chases and everything.
Oh yeah,
so a lot of money went into this.
Well, because he's hooked into the Need for Speed movie that they're making.
Oh, that's
which they showed a bunch of the footage of actually filming the Need for Speed.
That's what
movie.
that was.
Yeah, that's what that was.
Okay. Well, this the game. If you need something to scratch that burnout itch. This is the one.
Could be. Well, let's see if it's actually Criterion.
I don't think it is, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I don't know. There were a lot of car chases and cool looking crashes and stuff like that. So I don't know. It looked neat.
Yep.
Oh, it is Criterion.
It's Ghost Games with additional work by Criterion.
Okay.
It seems to be
looked fun and exciting. So
I mean, it seems to be. It's kind of a spiritual successor to. I mean, it almost seemed like the Hot Pursuit, right?
Yeah.
Because it was very much like cops versus like the trailer had very much like cops on one side and the like racers on the other side. They even had a little bit where they brought out the smart glass again to show that as a cop you can like deploy stuff to try to stop the racers. And
that could be fun.
Well, but who's going to use that?
Yeah,
like if I'm playing the racer and you're playing the cop, you're not going to be dicking with your iPad. You're going to be racing me.
Precisely.
So, but I don't know. I mean, to be honest, it wasn't doing anything all that much different than any other Need for Speed game.
That's true. Yeah, they really Need for Speed has been creeping towards more, outlandish bombasticness,
right?
And I
think it's a Criterion influence, honestly. But
exactly, yeah. Which I don't think that's a bad thing.
No,
it's. I would much rather play this than some of the racing sims like Forza or Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
But yeah,
they did have that one thing that I noted down here, which was the all play mode, where essentially if somebody else starts playing the game that's on your friends list, it's like you guys automatically can go and it can be in the same game. It's like if you both have your game set to all play mode, then like when I come in and log on, if you're on my friends list and you're playing the game, it just puts me into your game,
right?
Which seems pretty cool. I mean, it seems like
it could be. It could also be a pain in the ass depending on how it's implemented.
Was it Hot Pursuit the last one, or was it the one that I reviewed with Nick, where you could do there's some interesting multiplayer stuff going on in there. Like driving games seem to like they're heading a lot towards this multiplayer focus of having a lot of your friends driving at the same time.
Yeah.
And then it seems like they could be doing some cool stuff. Once again, we're not really just big into the racing thing.
Not so much.
I like Burnout,
Yeah.
But if Criterion has to either be making new Need for Speed games or Black 2, I would much rather that be making Need for Speed games because they're way better at that than first-person shooters. From there, we got to see an incredibly dull and kind of stupid trailer for Dragon Age 3.
I'm glad that's not just me because the trailer was the graphics in it were meh. Yeah.
It wasn't,
that's a good way to put it.
It wasn't even like framed well as a movie.
No.
Like it was just like you saw Varric, who is the dwarf guy, I believe, from Dragon Age 2, and it was like, oh, the world's in chaos and there's stuff going on. And there was this one scene where there were like these like demons coming out of the sky or whatever, and the models for the enemies look terrible.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider like go ahead.
This did not look like this looked like a game that was released a couple of years ago.
Well, I was thinking about it earlier, and when you think about, do you remember the first reveal trailer for Dragon Age 2, where it had the what was the character Archer or whatever the main character was?
Yeah.
And he kills that guy, and then he puts the blood on his face, and there's like that whole thing where he puts the sword behind. Like it was a pre-rendered trailer, but it was very cinematic, and it was very much like pushing the mood. Like, I can't wait, I want to play this game. Whereas this, it was like at the end, Morgan comes out and Claudia Black, who I'm kind of into. I was actually, she was doing the narration of the trailer, and I was like, that's Claudia Black. And somebody in the chat was like, that's Caitlin Stark. And I was like, I would know the voice of Aaron Soon anywhere, asshole.
And I looked over when this was playing, and she came out, and Jeff was like, don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't you fucking look at me.
But yeah, I can honestly say that I think that at this point with Dragon Age, what we need more than anything is some goddamn gameplay to show that it's not Dragon Age 2 all over again.
Yeah, this did not have that, and this was not an auspicious start. Oh, BioWare.
I mean, the person who introduced it was very much just like throwing out RPG buzzwords that meant nothing. Like we have a new
open world.
Yes,
a new RPG experience.
Right, it's got a level up system. Really?
Yeah.
I could level up and walk around the world in this RPG.
We have where you can use experience to trade it in for new skills.
We have both swords and axes.
Yeah.
And even magical spells. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so I'm not real confident about this one.
I want to see more. It's possible that could have been shitty, rushed out nonsense.
Yeah.
But the problem is that the Mass Effect 3 last year kind of had a little bit of an effect on
Dragon Age 2.
And Dragon Age 2 the year before that had a little bit of an effect. Which
I think the bloom is off the rose for BioWare.
Well, the doctors are gone. So
exactly. Yeah.
Who knows what the fuck is going on from there. After that, we moved into the whole block of EA Sports. I'm just going to read this shit off the list because I didn't really. Did you?
Nope.
There was okay, you guys. Seriously,
I'm sorry.
I just want to say this that like the people over at EA Sports, like when you look at the animation tech that they're making for like dribbling the ball or putting the player's feet on the sports ground or pivoting.
Is this when they had the Slam Poet come out?
Yes.
No. Or was that later?
I think was that at Ubisoft or was that here?
I think
it was here, wasn't it?
I don't know. They had a Slam Poet come out.
It was weird.
To do this thing about basketball. It's just like,
it was so weird.
Oh, this is uncomfortable. I hate slam poetry.
No, I'm pretty sure it was here. Because I don't think Ubisoft had any sports stuff. That was really weird. But like when I was watching that stuff, it's like you guys are paying a lot of attention to the tech of making a person run like they're a real person, shift their weight, plant their feet, react to physics. That is all incredibly awesome technology that I just really don't care about because you're making games about a thing that I don't care about.
They can't do much about it because they can't really, change the rules.
Well, sure.
Or have like, new elements to basketball or whatever. But yeah, so it's all of these sports games are really like, okay, we're just going to add more features. Oh, they are going to have something interesting, and that's like almost real-time updating of stats. Mm-hmm. I think they said this with NBA Live 14. They said that they were going to, within an hour of a game, of an actual game you would see on TV, that they would update the player stats
in the game
to
reflect that. That's pretty cool.
Unless I was misunderstanding that, but yeah, that seemed that really seems like it would be something that would keep everything up to date, especially since all of these games are so I don't know what's the word, just really temporary. It's like, because that's the thing you always see when you go to GameStop in the discount bins is like, here's the Madden from 9 months ago and it's $5,
right.
Because the next one comes out and mostly their thing on that is just their element in sports games seems to be really making the games more complicated, making them more visually arresting, and I don't know, I can't help but think that they're isolating the audience that they're shooting for.
Well, we talked about this a little bit when we did some of those sports reviews last year about how it's kind of like when you talk about the car games.
Yeah.
There's people like you and I who, we know the basic rules of basketball, football, soccer, that sort of thing. But we would have absolutely but the people these games seem to be aimed at seem to be people that have a very in-depth encyclopedic knowledge of what's going on and have played the last 4 or 5 of these games.
And we may be way off base on this, but it really seems like it's something that it's kind of a niche for hardcore gamers. I don't know a lot of hardcore gamers who play sports games as well. And sports fans, I think, are going to be too intimidated by all the options. As a gamer, I'm intimidated by all the options.
I honestly think that, like, when we were talking about these last year, that the insight that I got is there are. It seems to me, at least, and you guys could, I am just talking as much out of my ass as I possibly can, based on some little information. But it seems to me that there are groups of people out there who have been playing Madden for a long time, like Madden or FIFA or this thing.
Yeah.
And when the new one comes out, they don't need a tutorial because they already goddamn know how to play Madden because they've been doing it for 10 years or FIFA or whatever. And so when I tried to play Madden the last time, the problem for me was barrier to entry because Madden assumes that you are one of those people. They do not make it easy to get into the
It doesn't
game.
play like Tecmo Bowl.
Right. Which the thing is that say what you will
or Blitz.
say what you will about Forza, but like that game you can turn on all these assists.
Yeah.
You can rewind time. You can put the line so it'll show you exactly where to slow down to make a turn correctly. And I really wish that EA Sports would... I appreciate what they're doing with the fidelity of the character models and the movement and stuff. I wish they would try to bring some new people in by saying like, hey, are you a fan of Arch Rivals? Well, we have a version of NBA Live 14 that you can totally turn on and play like fucking Arch Rivals.
Yeah. Make it where it plays like Double Dribble.
Right, exactly. Or Tecmo Bowl.
NBA Hang Time.
Right. And then they brought out some really scary giant UFC dudes to talk about the UFC game that seems to have brand new grappling dudes.
Oh, yeah.
Mechanics.
That was when that one guy came out and he said, the first sport was people hitting each other. And he's like, I like hitting people and you like watching it. And I was just like, Somebody needs to tranquilize him and put him in jail right now because he is a fucking lunatic.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe those guys will be at E3 tomorrow. You can run up and interview one of them and be like, hey, that shit you said yesterday was total bullshit. Comment?
Yeah, that would I would take a punch.
Yeah?
I would take a punch on our video and I would shoot the shit out of one of those guys and we would get so many hits.
And so much money,
I'm going to try
too.
to provoke one of them.
All right.
Yeah.
I heard a couple years ago Hollywood Hulk Hogan was walking around the pre-show floor.
I can't talk shit to Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Well, nobody can.
not Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Right.
I'll talk just to Hollywood Hulk Hogan. But Hulk Hogan?
Sure.
Hulk Hogan? No. I know he's a dickhead, but come on. The dude's an icon of my youth. But,
okay.
But yeah, you get one of those Randy Couture dudes out there.
I want to see you talk some shit
I'm going to be
Brock
like,
Lesnar.
I'm going to go, I'll do it. I will do it. I will do it simply because I know I could get one of those guys to hit me, and then I would never have to work again ever.
Well, but you
I
also
could be
might never be able to stand again, ever.
There's probably that.
Yeah.
But, walking, whatever.
Maybe we could get you an intense course of learning how to get punched in the face by people way stronger than you first, so you can learn how to roll with it, not break your spine.
The thing. Like, okay, the question on everyone's mind, Mr. Badass MMA dude.
Right.
The question on everyone's mind, when you're out there, do you ever get a boner and think, I really want to put my dick in this guy? Does that ever happen? Because it kind of looks like it. Do you ever go out there and just rub like butter all over yourself? Do you ever invite one of your wrestling opponents over to your house to quote unquote talk?
Yeah.
And then they learn that you have rubbed Vegemite all over your nuts and that you want to quote unquote practice.
Brock, can you come over? I'm real down.
I'm feeling vulnerable.
I'm not pretty.
Let's practice our takedowns. And then let's fuck. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get my ass kicked, and then I'm going to be a millionaire.
Okay. All right. So we have a plan for next year's E3 is Jason will come in his
next year. No,
wheelchair.
This is fucking next year I'll be in my wheelchair.
Right.
Yeah. I'll be like, hello, I would like to see this game.
And then we could go to Disney World, and I could push you to the front of the line like the douchebags at Disney World. All right. Well, finally at EA, we had a couple of things. There was a much bigger Battlefield demo.
Yes,
that was
multiplayer.
64 players.
32 on 32.
Right.
Yeah, it was all on the PC, so we didn't really see if the console was going to be able to handle that many players, because
if the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 can't handle that, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
They've got the hardware for that now.
Because right now on Battlefield 3, I think it's 16 on 16, if I'm not mistaken.
Which I also think is kind of bullshit. But,
but that, I mean, we've been on 32 versus 32 on since Battlefield
PC.
2.
Yeah.
On the PC.
Yeah.
And this honestly, this looked like Battlefield 3. But the instructable environments were much more it seemed, it's hard to tell, but it seemed like maybe you can take down any building, like skyscrapers.
Yep. Well, there were two major things. There was in the first part where they were in like an underground setting, and they came up to the street, and there was a tank, and they managed to blow the ground out from under the tank, right?
Yeah.
To take it out, which is like, that sounds amazing to do. And there was another part later on where the team, like, they got on a boat, they went over here, blah, blah. Then when the skyscraper, they went to the top, and they had a firefight at the top of the skyscraper. And then the skyscraper started rumbling, and they all jumped off the side and opened up parachutes. And then when they hit the ground, they turned around, and you saw the entire skyscraper fall that they were just on fall down.
That was pretty great. It's hard to really appreciate what was going on there if you're not playing it.
Yeah.
Because if we're watching it, we have the tendency to watch a spectacle like that in the mindset of it's a single player experience, and that's a scripted sequence, which I know it, or I don't think it was, but if you're playing that in multiplayer, that probably feels pretty badass.
Sure.
And I really want to know, can you do that to all of the buildings? Because this was set in Shanghai, with their towering skyscrapers. But
my question,
it looked exciting, and they didn't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say my question for it was more about I think I looked away for just a second when they were going into the skyscraper, and what I'm wondering is, those buildings, are they just a lobby and then like 2 top floors, or are there? Can you get in the middle of a skyscraper and shoot at somebody from there? I mean,
are there multiple all of the floors in the skyscraper?
How many little hidey holes are there?
That's one of the things is that with games, you always have to be very careful of sacrificing fun for realism.
Right.
So if they're putting all of the floors on there, they are probably they're going to be making the arena too big, because there is definitely an art form to making a multiplayer arena.
True.
And and that is very different from Halo, say, versus Battlefield. So you don't want to make it too big where people are just kind of running around not seeing anyone.
Right.
So yeah, it's. I
really want to get my hands on it. I'm hoping that it's one of those things that's out on the show floor, because it's on the PlayStation 4, it's on the Xbox One,
and it's just a few months away.
I'm hoping that we'll be able to get our hands on it, because in 2011 when I came, there was a huge line for Battlefield 3, but that was like right when they first started talking about it. So
and they didn't talk about the character classes at all.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they maintain that. I'm hoping they're not moving away from it. This might just be my paranoia talking, but they didn't address it even a little.
I think there was some of that stuff on the commander mode on the smart glass. I think you could see like the little icons of the dudes had like a wrench or a medic or something like that.
Right. Yeah, there was the commander mode, which they're bringing back from Battlefield 2. I guess it was.
I'm not as familiar with it to know when it was last in the game. Did 2142 have that? Because that was after Battlefield 2, right?
I don't remember. Yeah, that was after Battlefield 2. I don't remember that, but I'm not sure. But there's a commander mode, which is really fun if you can find a good commander who enjoys it. But they had people playing commander mode on the smart glass, which was like an overhead map of, okay, you go here, you do this, and assigning people tasks and stuff like that.
Right.
And that really, facilitates teamwork if it's done correctly, and can really add to the game. So
okay. Well, that was Battlefield 4, and then the last thing that we saw at the show, which was something that I think had been teased quite a bit before the show. It was kind of one of those poorly kept secrets of E3 type of thing, because there's some trademark registration stuff going on for it, was Mirror's Edge 2.
Yeah.
Which is after the...
Looks like Mirror's Edge 1, really.
Looks better than Mirror's Edge 1.
Does it?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't played 1 that much.
We looked at it like last week when Sparkle Fandango played it.
I didn't
You were
know.
really looking at the screen?
No, I didn't really notice that much difference.
I thought that a lot of the textures in like the walls and stuff were less stark. The world seemed less like a white model that had been painted colors in certain places. It seemed a little bit more fleshed out.
Okay.
There was a whole sequence of Faith getting a tattoo. Everything looked a little bit more high resolution. I'm really excited. I really liked the original Mirror's Edge. I thought it was a very clever and creative concept.
Yeah, this was their kind of coup de grace. This was the one that they really carted out to say, hey, check this out, Mirror's Edge 2. And everybody... There was a lot of positive response to that.
Mirror's Edge has a following. It's a sort of game where everybody was sad to see that it was only going to be a single one-off. There's no possible way in the world that will be available for us to try to play. I can't even imagine there's a behind closed doors for that, but we'll look, but I highly doubt it. But all I can say is that I'm really excited, because I felt like that was a series that did a good opening outing. It was like Assassin's Creed 1. Like, it had a good opening outing that had a bunch of flaws, but it had a good idea, and they never took that second game to take all the gameplay mechanics up to where they should be. So that was EA. And I tell you what, we've got 2 more conferences left to go, and we're already hitting the hour-long mark. So we're going to go ahead and take a break for a few minutes. So this is basically going to go up as part 1 of 2, but the second part should be up today, the same day that this one goes up. So we're going to take a little break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Ubisoft, we're going to talk about Sony, and we're going to talk about the fallout of Ubisoft, or of Sony specifically. It's Sony versus Microsoft.
Yeah, and the second part's coming. Just let it happen. I wish it was the butt.
In the butt?
Yeah.
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 In the butt?
Yeah.